Hook on anything? Or is it? Okay.
Put it in your bag in case I need it later. I know when it's coming back. You're a little furry, yeah, a little furry. I didn't know you guys Hi. Actually, I got a fitness
So I have one lady that's eating right now, but I'll watch her and go back to her.
How you doing, hon?
So I can see. Oh, this is good. So he's actually the husband of. I got it. I remember you from the playground. So one of the things that we're doing this year that's awesome is we have so all of the people going to our virtual rally thing. And so one of the things we wanted to add to this was in this case, and I'm great to get a comment from you because you missed the past GrandRally. Yes. So about what the Grand Rally has meant to you and, why you're excited to be here and, what you hope to get out of this one.
Might not beg off.
Hey, can I get your name again? Okay, Mr. Jerome. All right, so Cliff.
Remember, anything you say near the camera is on camera. I mean, any voice near him.
Okay, I'll let folks know.
So, I'm just going to walk around and if you stand near the rest.
So when I go like this, pause, and then see if my head.
There's ice cold water.
Thank you, Mom.
Okay, so I have to put right here. Okay, so Miss Craddock. Okay. And where are you from?
I'm from Carsville, Virginia.
Okay, Collinsville,
Close
Virginia.
to Franklin, about an hour west of Virginia Beach.
Okay.
Definitely not east, because we'd be in the water.
So Miss Craddock from Carville, Virginia?
Carsville, Virginia.
Carsville, Virginia. Okay. Okay, so he wants you here with the capital.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm Alan King with Generations United, one of the co-sponsoring organizations for our 5th National Grand Rally. I am here with Miss Craddock from Carsville, Virginia. And so Miss Craddock, can you just say what the Grand Rally means to you?
The Grand Rally means grandparents and other relatives raising children, that we can get some of the same things for our minor children, doing what's in the best interest of the child. A child never ages out of being a family member, where sometimes it ages out of foster care. So we need to come together as a nation and do what's in the best interest of the children.
Okay, and I when I spotted you, I saw a little bit of excitement. So if you could talk about, like how you got here and what are you hoping to get out of today's Grand Rally?
I came with the bus. Well, it was actually 2 buses from people in the Tidewater area, from Virginia, as well as North Carolina. And this is probably about my 4th or 5th time coming. The last time was, I think we had it in 2011. I was here then, and I try to come. When they call me, even though I'm not raising any grandchildren at this time, I have many times. So I do have some grandchildren living with me. So it's all in seeing what is out there available to help the children.
Okay, and then the last thing is, anything you want people watching this to know about grand families and the role of, why the role of grandparents raising grandchildren is so important, not just for the family itself, but for people outside of the families?
Well, for people outside the family, they need to realize it's much harder usually when grandparents or even relatives raising children. They don't get as many benefits for the children as foster families do. And it takes just as much to raise a child, whether it's family raising children or if it's foster families raising children. So I want everybody to work together that we can do what's in the best interest of the children.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Ms. Craddock. And again, I'm Alan King with Generations United. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you so much. No, but you
Okay, thank you. All right.
Can I look at it? Yeah, look at it. That's the small in here.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. Yeah, they're 100%. Just so you know. Not too hot, is it? Not too hot, I think. Thank you. That's why I got the 2XL. There we go.
And she'll be there.
So I'll just ask you like 3 questions.
Okay.
Hi again. I'm Alan King with Generations United, and we are one of the co-sponsoring organizations for today's 5th National Grand Rally. I'm here with Mrs. Pinckney from Baltimore, Maryland. And so, Mrs. Pinckney, we'll just go ahead and get started. If you could, is this your first Grand Rally?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and how did you hear about it?
From our Miss Annette Saunders.
Okay, can you talk about, like the excitement leading up to today and what you hope to get out of today's event?
I just want to learn as much as I can. You're never too old to learn, and we are all from the Pimlico Grandparents Club. We're not too old to learn, period.
Okay, and is there anything else you want folks who are not familiar with grand families to know, like what, to know anything about grand families?
Working for grandparents, a lot of our children will suffer, definitely. And we, the grandparents, are the core to helping our young children and the next generation. That's it.
Okay, Mrs. Pinkney and the rest of the Pimlico family, grandparents, thank you all so much for what you do. Thank you. Well, I'm not going to pressure you to do any dancing on camera, but thank you all so much. Again, I'm Alan King with Generations United. Stay tuned.
You're welcome. Now we want our money when we leave here.
I'll give you royalties. Okay, so Mr. Denise and Gerald, and where are you from? Pittsburgh. Hi again. I'm Alan King with Generations United, one of the co-sponsors for today's 5th National GrandRally. I'm here with Mrs. Denise Angel from Pittsburgh. And so thank you for joining us. Can you talk a little bit about the excitement that led up to this event?
Yes, I'm here excited to support Second Chance Incorporated. I have a family member that works there in the foster care program, and I'm just excited anytime. As you look and see this button right here, a step forward for children, because children do need us to step forward even more and more for them and their needs. And I'm just excited to be here to support this entire rally and relative to grandparents and relatives raising children, you know, and that's why I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And is this your first GrandRally?
This is my first one.
Okay, and how did you find out about it?
Well, I found out about it through a Second Chance Incorporated and an employee working there. And I asked if I might be able to come and attend, and they said they would check it out and see. So they did, and they allowed me to come, so that's why I'm here.
Okay, we're glad to have you. And could you talk about what you hope to get out of today's event?
Well, I hope as always, that they have some new resources to share or new ways of rendering foster care and things that we can do as individuals and collectively. And I like to go back and share that with others that I know that might not even know what's available at this point. So that's one thing I hope to get.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Angel. And again, I'm Alan King with Generations United. Stay tuned.
Please call Capital Police. Please call Capital Police so that
Lord, just one thought of you.
I'm waiting to do. But you know, if you ever need another camera or if you just need help with something, I'm happy to do it.
When you do?
So that's and sometimes I travel. Like Friday, I'm going to Richmond for a school graduation. Next Tuesday, I'm going in there for a cybersecurity conference.
Okay.
So I get around. I'm happy to do it. Today, I'm freelancing for this organization.
Is this your gear or is this,
Yeah, this is my gear. I have 4 cameras.
is this the X1 or the X3?
The X1R. I have one EX1, I have 2 EX1R, one EX3. At some point I want to upgrade. But they still do great.
They're workhorses. Yeah. I mean, for streaming, what else do you do?
Yeah.
Remember, you have 2 shots, the full dome and then one with just the flag. Okay? Wait, just the flag?
I mean, him and the flag. You're saying
But
profit.
I mean, check this one real quick. Don't think I should get one like this? That's similar to yours. Okay.
I think.
If I have another.
I think. So this would be like 4 wide at the bottom of the stage. See it? And that, and down in for 20 seconds. Just a couple seconds. And then the second shot I will do is something like this. That's where you see the flag is in the shot. On top of the flag. Okay? Something like that. If they start singing, I would roll some of that just to give him the... So I can hear big. He has one speaker before him, the choir first.
So
one
don't roll on
speaker.
the other speaker?
I would roll on the whole thing.
Maybe we
Because
can.
there may be a congressman coming. So.
Okay. I ain't gonna say something I'm not supposed to touch.
Hello, GrandRally. Come on, we can do better than that for the grandparents and the caregivers and everybody. Come on for kinship care. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so grateful to be here with you guys. We are from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We're from a Second Chance Incorporated, and we call ourselves the nation's leader in kinship care. We do it best. We do it right. We believe in kinship care. On behalf of Dr. Sharon McDaniel, who is our CEO and president, she could not be with us today, but she sends her love, her care, her appreciation. Her heart is here, and her spirit is definitely here. We want to thank you all for this opportunity to be with you. We're grateful to be here. We're going to just sing a little bit and get things going with you guys. We brought our lovely choir. The Voices of a Second Chance are with us. And we've learned that through kinship care, sometimes it gets hard. Sometimes you have good days. Sometimes you have bad days. when you have those good days and those bad days, but when you have those days, we just want to remind you to smile. If you can just smile, things get a lot better if you smile. And smiling makes you feel better, so we want to come and we're going to tell you to smile. After we tell you about smiling, we understand the reason why we're smiling is because even though the day might not have been a good day, we understand that it's going to be a lovely day. The next day will always be a lovely day. So I always like to say that as long as you're living, there's hope. And we know that kinship care brings hope. And lastly, we're all grateful because we've all had some point in time the touch of grandma's hands. And so we're going to just sing a little bit about grandma's hands. Any grandmoms out there? If my grandmas are out there, make some noise. Come on, can we all make some noise on behalf of kinship care? Let's just make some noise. I give you the voices of a second chance under the direction of Curtis Lewis.
Good afternoon. I'm Mary Lee Allen, the Director of Policy at the Children's Defense Fund and one of the GrandRally supporting organizations. We're so happy to have you all here this afternoon. I'm the fortunate one in that I have been at all 5 of the GrandRallies, the first one starting in 2003. So I think we have a few others here who've been at many of them too. So if you've been at more than one GrandRally, just raise your hands for a second. Terrific. We have a number here. And thank you for your great continuing work in building this community of hope around the country. I'm very honored this afternoon to stop the choir to introduce to you Senator Chuck Grassley. Senator Chuck Grassley is indeed a champion for children. The senior senator from Iowa has been a longtime advocate for vulnerable children and especially relative caregivers and foster children in the child welfare system. He began with the Adoption and Safe Families Act of 1997, 20 years ago. It's amazing when you think back at that, and has kept highlighting the importance of permanence for children, kinship care, aging out of care, substance abuse. I could go on. Educational stability. He's been there for it all. He's also noted for staying in touch with people in his own state and in his own district. And I think that's well recognized by the story of Stacy Walker. Stacy Walker spoke at our 2008 GrandRally, a young man who was raised by his grandparents in Iowa. And Senator Grassley heard his story, heard the stories of other young people in his state raised by their grandparents, and went on to work with others to pass the bicameral, bipartisan Fostering Success and Increasing Adoption Act in 2008. And as I just mentioned to Senator Grassley, Stacy Walker also watched him carefully and himself was just elected to the Lynn County Board of Supervisors in Iowa. So he's following in the steps of someone he admired as we look ahead. The Fostering Connections to Success Act brought you all the Kinship Caregiver Support Program. It also brought you the Guardianship Assistance Program, which has been so central to the care of children with relatives in your states. Senator Grassley was also the co-founder and is currently a co-sponsor of the Senate Caucus on Foster Youth, which does a fabulous job in the Senate in terms of highlighting the importance and the stories of young people from foster care. So I am delighted to share with you and to introduce Senator Chuck Grassley.
I had a chance to hear your last song. I wish I could stay longer and hear more of your song, but I've got to go on when I'm done here. But thank you very much for participating. And I'm here to encourage with a few words that does more than say thank you. It's here to encourage you that you can be a solution to the problem that we have, not only in what you do to help young people, but in what you can do by being in Washington, D.C. and talking to your congressmen and senators about the issues that concern you and the people that you try to help. So I thank you very much for inviting me to be here today. Through my work on foster care in the Senate, I've had an opportunity to hear from young people in foster care. What they tell me is just pretty simple. And we ought to get this message out, that they want love, they want support, they need family, and that's expressed to me in these words more often. I would like to have continuity in my life. I'd like to have a home, and I'd like to have a mom and dad. And I know you folks are here because you believe that, and you practice that through what you do for young people. Because when grandparents and other relatives like you are willing to step in and raise your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews, or younger siblings, you're providing more than just a safe place to sleep. You're providing care, support, and most importantly, stability that all young people need. By opening your homes, by providing love and by providing a safe environment for these children, you're creating a foundation for a better future. Families are where we find comfort to sustain us in challenging times. Kinship care provides more stability and helps keep siblings together. It helps children maintain connections to their schools, their friends, and their communities. Unfortunately, I know too often it can seem like child welfare policies are working against you. Without the financial support that is available to non-relative caregivers, relatives are sometimes unable to continue to provide a home for children that they very much care about. Congress has enacted some changes. You just heard some of those legislation that I've been involved in, and there's probably legislation that I'm not involved in that you're supporting for this efforts as well. You're free to tell me about that anytime. But Congress has enacted changes to encourage these households to build more stability for children. With the help of advocates like you, we've changed the law to make it easier for children to be permanently cared for by their very own relatives. So your trip here is to promote more of this. And I don't know whether people of all ages are very cynical about what goes on in Washington. But I always say in government, you can say it for politics as well, sometimes you don't know what you're going to do will accomplish what you wanted to do, but if there's no known negatives to it, you ought to be doing it. And so you don't know for sure what you're going to accomplish by being here today and advocating for your causes, but you do it because you know you have had some success and hope of success in the future, and you will do that. So it is due to your advocacy that we've made some of these improvements that you've heard mentioned. There's still work to be done, so you need to continue to share your stories and know that my door is always open. We're working in Congress to continue to improve the lives of people in foster care, to give them that permanency, that home, and that mom and dad that they want eventually by fostering adoptions as well as just taking care of people in foster care. Hearing directly from children and families like you, and that's what our Foster Youth Caucus does, is important to ensure that we're doing here in Washington, D.C. all we can to provide all children with a chance to grow up in, again, while you're here, in a loving, permanent home. Thank you very much.
Where are all my grandparents at? All right. We appreciate you. And this song's for you. Church on Sunday morning. Grandma's hand. Lady Tambourine so well. Used to issue out a warning. She said,
Clifford Barnett, and I have the privilege of welcoming you to the 5th Grand Rally. I do need you to understand that along with Mary Allen, I've been here for all 5 rallies, and so we're excited that you are here. My job today is just to welcome you and get things started. So I start off by saying welcome to the 5th Grand Rally here on the Capitol grounds. Thank you for making the sacrifices. Thank you for getting here. Thank you for saving the money. Thank you for fish fries and chicken fries and garage sales and car washes. And thank you for Fund Me account. And thank you for that old-fashioned way of just passing the hat. Thank you for getting here. We're here. We're here today. We're here to remind legislators. We're here to remind senators and House of Representatives that we aren't going anywhere. We're here today to remind them that kinship care matters. We're here today to say we aren't going anywhere. We'll keep showing up. We will keep showing up. We'll show up at your office. We'll show up at the picnics. We'll show up at the 4th of July picnics. We're going to keep showing up until something positive happens. Why? Because we're building a city of hope. We are not giving up. We have hope. Hope for our grandchildren. Hope for our nieces and nephews that we're raising. Hope in our situation. Hope for grandchildren, nephews and nieces, cousins. Hope that it will get better. Hope that our children will succeed. Hope that our grandchildren will graduate from high school and college. Hope that they won't get tired. Hope that we'll keep on keeping on. Hope that grandma's hand will hold them. We're not giving up. We're not quitting. Oh, I know. Sometimes you get tired. But I like what James Cleveland, he said it like this: I don't feel no ways tired because I've come too far. Somebody told me today, they said I've been there and back and there and back again. I've come too far from where I started from. You don't know my story. You don't know he came to the house with only diapers on his behind. You don't know my story. You don't know that when I had to take him, I had no money on my own. You don't know my story. He had to sleep on the couch. You don't know my story. If you knew my story, then you'd understand I don't feel tired. No ways tired, because I don't believe he brought me this far. I don't believe that he brought me with this little boy that rolls his eyes at me. I don't believe he brought me with this granddaughter that likes to... I don't believe he brought me with children that sometimes don't want to do what I ask them to do. I don't believe he brought me with the teenage boy that I can't handle. I just don't believe he brought me this far just to leave me. Because sometimes they'll grab my hand and they'll say, Grandma, it's going to be all right. Let me remind you, it will be all right. Let me remind you that it's going to get better. It will get better. I don't know how to say it, but somehow it seems to me maybe we're stationed where God wanted us to be. That the little place you're feeling is the reason for your birth. And just to do the things you do, he put you on this earth. If God had wanted otherwise, I guess he would have made you just a little different of a less or greater grade. But since God knows and understands all things on land and sea, I fancy that he placed you here just where he wanted you to be. And sometimes you may get to thinking as your labors you review that you'd like a higher task with greater things to do. But come to the conclusion when the envying is stilled that the post to which God sent you is the post he wanted filled.
You should never follow a minister. So, oh my gosh, is this not a glorious day? Well, I don't think this is a rally. This is a revival. Woo! Oh my God, thank the Second Chance Choir for that beautiful introduction and the senator for his remarks, and thanks Reverend Barnett. Listen, good afternoon. I am Michelle Singletary. I am a columnist for the Washington Post. I write about money, but my claim to fame really starts mess with my grandmother. So I am the product of what you're doing. I was raised by my grandmother. She took me in when I was 4 years old. There was 5 of us. A sister who was 8, I was 4, a sister who was 3, and twin brothers. I know, right? I couldn't even take my own self in under that. So I want to just tell you that here I stand before you is of someone who benefited from the types of things that you do. So good afternoon. Welcome to the 5th National Grand Rally, Building a Community of Hope. This is a celebration of grand families and kinship care providers and the important work you do every single day to ensure a healthy childhood for our country's next generation. So thank you. Thank you so much for what you do. Today's Grand Rally is a time for celebration, but it's also a time to raise our voices. Can you all raise your voices? And let your members of Congress and other policymakers know that you're here. Say, I am here. And let the public know the importance of grandparents and other relative caregivers play in raising America's children. The rally wouldn't be possible without the hard work of many dedicated individuals and organizations. I want you to join me in thanking some of those folks. The state contacts, raise your hands. Those from the states, the national partners, Generations United, Children's Defense Fund, go ahead, clap away, foster care, AARP. Can I tell y'all, I kind of joined in, but don't keep that a secret, I'm just saying. Grand Families of America and the National Kinship Alliance for Children. Supporting organizations listed in your program, let's thank them. Please be sure to look in your program. And then the Casey Family Programs for their generous support of today's rally. This wouldn't happen without that kind of support. Does the Grand Rally really make a difference? What do you think? Absolutely. When you travel here, it does make a difference. Where are you from? Just shout it out. Where are you from? I heard all of you. I was particularly nice for Hawaii. Listen, I like Hawaii. I'm going to give you my information so y'all can come support, invite me to Hawaii, all right? The rest of y'all, I already live here. Your time here at past Grand Rallies, your visits to members and continuing contacts help educate Congress about the federal support you need and spur the introduction of passage of important legislations for grand families. There's no other time in history where we have to lift our voices. I ain't saying nothing else, but you all know what I mean. Because of the National Grand Rallies, new congressional champions have stepped up. Several states held Grand Rallies, state and local coalitions have formed, support groups and kinship navigator programs have been established, enduring friendships and national network is now so strong. The Grand Rallies have a track record. Let's make this year count too. In this often divisive political climate, you and the Grand Rally offer policymakers an issue where both sides of the aisle, this is not Democrat or Republican, can find common ground supporting the important role of grand families and kinship families and keeping children safely in their families. There's no better place than to be raised by the people who know them. We must be sure to support be sure the supports that do exist don't get eroded. They have to stay put, that they are maintained and strengthened, and that our elected officials work to put family first. Medicare, Medicaid is so important, and there's an attack on both. It is critical that you use this forum today, this opportunity on Capitol Hill, to visit the offices of your members of Congress. Even if you aren't able to talk with someone, remind them that your vote in your state, leave a copy of the rally policies with them. Speak up, say, I am here. I'm not going anywhere. But you are if you don't support grand families. You don't have to do that, Lord, You are 100 strong today, and you are joined by hundreds of others who are at home contacting their members of Congress on the toll-free line to form a virtual grand rally. In fact, do you all have smartphones? I know you do. Please join Twitter or Facebook and hashtag Grand Rally 2017. Let this trend, right? Because you know they pay attention. A certain person pays attention to Twitter. So let's tweet to him and let him know that we are what? We are here. If you can't meet with your legislators, you can call them toll-free from right here at the rally by stopping by the Hill Visit table right behind you. Look behind us right there. So let's get this rally going. I'm going to now have George Collins White come up and introduce our next speaker. Right? We're here? That's all right.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. As mentioned before, my name is George Collins White. I am the policy specialist with Foster Club. And as a national network for young people in foster care, we are thrilled to be a co-sponsor of the 2017 Grand Rally. We know and honor the critical role of grandparents and other kinship caregivers, and that is why we are here as a co-sponsor today. So it is now my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Brittany Barros, who is a 2016 Foster Club All-Star from Ypsilanti, Michigan, and she serves as the president of Michigan Youth Opportunity Initiative. Brittany first entered foster care at age 11 and re-entered as a teenager, and after years of advocating for herself and her siblings, she was able to get placed under the guardianship of her grandmother. Brittany, who recently completed her first year at Eastern Michigan University, give it up for the first year of college. She spends her time advocating on behalf of foster youth and other at-risk youth with Ozone House, Speak Out, and Park West Foundation. So let's give a warm welcome to Brittany Barros.
Thank you, George. I would like to say first real quick that the names in my speech are changed for confidentiality except for my own name. My name is Brittany Barros. I was placed into foster care because my mom chose the powerful whiff of cocaine and hit of marijuana before my siblings and I. I was placed into foster care because of my mom's boyfriends who would sexually abuse me when I was a child. I was placed into foster care because my siblings and I would watch men go in and out of our homes as our mother sold her body to them. I was placed into foster care because oftentimes we would go days without eating and go months of trying to survive homelessness. When I was placed into foster care, my whole world turned upside down. I remember the night bawling my eyes out to the DHS worker to not separate my siblings and I because they were my life, my soul, and my everything. We have nearly almost died with each other, but at the same time, we survived everything together. I didn't think it was too much to ask, but in the system's eyes, it was. My siblings and I were placed in different foster homes from all over the state. One foster home, they didn't call me Brittany. They called me it and thing and treated myself and the other foster youth in the home like their personal servants. My second time in foster care, I was placed into a group home. In this group home, I felt trapped inside where we were underfed and mistreated. Some of the staff had this power trip of writing us consequence referrals because that meant we were not allowed to go home to visit our family. My other siblings would often go under malnutrition in foster homes and other group homes. Ranging from sexual abuse and emotional abuse, hearing what my siblings went through killed me inside. I felt like I couldn't do anything about it because the foster care system kept us separated. My grandmother would come to every court date to take us in. Through all the trauma my siblings and I faced in the foster care system, it was our dream to be reunited and living with Grandma because she, out of everyone else in the world, was the most passionate to give us the loving and caring home we deserved. After years of battling numerous social workers, lawyers, and judges about the permanent and safe home my siblings deserve, we finally won. Well, 3 out of 4 of us did. Brian, Sarah, and I live with Grandma like happily ever after. But my brother Steve was left under the rug. He was sent to Missouri to live with his dad, however was taken away and placed into foster care for his 3rd time. Currently, he lives in a group home where he suffers from mental health and has moved to 5 different group homes in the last 3 months. To this day, I still advocate to his case plan team to let him come back to Michigan to the loving and caring family he deserves. And it's still a battle that I struggle with every day. My other siblings and I miss our brother, and we would do anything to have him back with us. When 2 out of 3 of my siblings was placed with my grandmother, I was beyond relieved. No more group homes. No more instability. No more wondering if I was going to be removed and having to adjust yet to another school and another life. She saved us from the many years of turmoil, trauma, and the many dynamic issues youth face from the foster care system. This rescue is what every foster youth deserves. Why? Because we are more than just a case number that group homes can profit off of. We are more worth than being bounced around from home to home like a pinball as if our stability was just an endless game to play. We, just like every other human being on this planet, deserve to live with our family first before group homes and foster homes if they are qualified. I'm asking everyone watching this, anyone involved in this foster care system, congressmen and women, Trump's administration, to making more efforts into placing foster youth with our families first. Rather that be creating and implementing policies or pieces of legislation, writing up referrals for family to take the necessary background check and home evaluation, and signing the court paper document that determines our fate, you can save foster youth from the traumatic experiences of instability, mental health deterioration, and suffering from grief. Thank you.
Good afternoon again. I have the honor now of introducing you to another Senate champion for children. We're very delighted to have Senator Ron Wyden, the senior senator from Oregon, with us this afternoon. He's the ranking member of the Senate Finance Committee and has been a long-time champion for children and their caregivers. In fact, he first learned about the many grandparents raising children very early in his career when he co-founded the Oregon chapter of the Gray Panthers. Some of you are familiar with that, and also taught gerontology and worked for legal services for seniors. When he came to the House of Representatives and then the Senate, he continued that advocacy and that support. And in 2014, played an important role in passage of the bicameral and bipartisan Preventing Sex Traffic and Strengthening Families Act. For these last 2 years, he's really taken something that was very dear to his heart, the Family Stability and Kinship Care Act, and joined with others in the Senate to support the Family First Prevention and Services Act, which is a critical piece of legislation which would provide broad support for kinship caregivers. I'm really so pleased and so proud to introduce to you Senator Ron Wyden.
It is so good to be with all of you today, and I'm going to spare you the long speeches, but just take a short trip down the road we traveled to get to where we are. I began this journey back in 1994 and 1995 when a fella by the name of Newt Gingrich said that kids in troubled families ought to go to orphanages. Any of you remember that? So I was sitting there. We had young kids at the time. We have young kids again. But I was sitting there and they asked, "Daddy, what's an orphanage? Are we going to be sent there?" And we vowed right then, because the Gray Panthers had stood for Age and Youth in Action, that we were going to make sure that there was a policy so that all those youngsters had better options for them and better options for their parents. That was a judgment made in 1994 and 1995, and here's how it began. In 1996, I wrote the law that said that kin had first preference. Kin had a priority. Before you were going to send youngsters thousands and thousands of miles away, we were going to make sure that kin, grandparents and aunts and uncles and all the people who wanted to be there for their kids and their grandparents would have first preference. We got that law passed in 1996. And then we said there's a whole lot more to do. So we kept huffing and puffing and working with parents and CDF and Generations United and all the good groups. And come 2008, we were able to get financial support put behind it. So in 2008, the grandparents wouldn't be by themselves. They'd also get some financial support. So that was victory number 2. And by the way, that same year we had a person, you might have heard the name, Hillary Clinton. And she helped us get the kinship navigators. And that was step number 3. And mention was made of families first. That was the bipartisan legislation that we came inches from getting passed in the last Congress. It said, you know, in the foster care system, they think there are 2 choices. Send the kids thousands of miles away. There are some good foster care facilities. Or leaving the families to fend for themselves. And we said we can do better. We can get the parents and the family services at home because it works, and you know it works because you see it. We got it through the House. We didn't get it through the Senate. Folks, I'm here to pledge to tell you we are going to stay in that fight day in and day out until we get families first enacted in the law. Day in, day out, night in, day out. What are we going to do? Day in, day out. What are we going to do? All right. And I know you're making visits to folks, and that's important as well. And I want to mention 2 other things real quickly and then wrap it up. You're going to have my friend, Senator Bob Casey, coming in a little bit. He's doing some really good work to try to give families additional tools. He's on the Finance Committee. We got anybody here from Pennsylvania? All right. Big shout out for Bob when he gets here, okay? All right. Let me mention one other thing. This bill that passed the House of Representatives last week is a tsunami of suffering that is going to affect thousands, millions of families on Medicaid. We must block this abomination. The reality is, and I saw it in Oregon, the pain spans the generations. I saw, for example, at a round table early last week in Oregon, families breaking down in tears because of the prospect of losing help for special needs kids. And as you know, grandparents and kin do a lot of good work with those special needs, youngsters. Those are the real tiny ones. But a lot of you work with high school students as well. Under this bill, if a high school student has a brush with cancer and they look like they're cured, if they redefine a pre-existing condition, that youngster that you're working with could carry that cancer condition around like a scarlet letter. We cannot let them gut the guarantee of protection for those with a pre-existing condition. We cannot let them gut the guarantee of protection for those with pre-existing conditions. So I'm going to wrap up with this. One of the first rules in the Senate is you should never give a long, boring speech to your friends. You save those for the other people. But I'm telling you, we've come a long, long way. If I look back to those days when Newt Gingrich had those twisted ideas that the only thing that was out there for kids was orphanages. And I didn't want to act like Methuselah and just kind of take you through yesteryear and things that you might not have heard about because you weren't born. But we've come a long, long way. There is a long way to go. We cannot, let me repeat this, we cannot let the far right turn back the clock on Medicaid. We cannot let them go back to the days when health care was for the healthy and wealthy, which is where they're trying to take us. So I so appreciate your being here, and I'll have to tell you that of all the things I've done in public service. And I've had a wonderful, wonderful ride with this opportunity to serve. Some of you may know I went to school on a basketball scholarship. I was dreaming of playing in the NBA. It was a ridiculous idea. I was too small and I made up for it by being really slow. So I didn't get that dream, but I got another one. And that was the opportunity to be involved in public service. And I will have to tell you, in my years in public service, there has been nothing, underlying nothing, I have enjoyed more, felt was more meaningful than the effort to bring younger people and older people, kin and families and young people together. You are making an enormous difference. You've already done a lot of good work. There's a lot more to do. And as the senior Democrat on the Senate Finance Committee, I want to pledge to you, we will be with you every step of the way. God bless.
That wasn't a loud enough applause for Senator Wyden. He has been an unfailing champion and advocate for all of us, our children, and our families. So thank you, sir, for everything you do. My name is Barb Quaintance, and I work with AARP, which is one of the co-sponsors here today. And I just want to say what an incredible honor it is to be part of this community of hope. Thank you to all of you and all of you who are back home for what you do. AARP knows that there's no one way to make a family. We build them one child and one adult at a time. We've worked hard legislatively over the years to support you and make sure that grandparents and aunts and uncles and other kin are able to get what they need to support their children. And it's an ongoing effort and one that we are committed to for as long as it takes. It's my honor today to share with you and introduce to you one such grandfather. Dr. Neil Gallagher and his wife waged a 4-year battle, custody battle, to be able to adopt and raise their grandchildren. And they were successful, and their grandchildren have a lot to be thankful for. Their children are now 19 and 21, and I'll bet you would agree it's an unexpected gift they were given. Challenged for sure, but unexpected gift. Dr. Gallagher is a noted public speaker on the topic of grandparents raising grandchildren, so please welcome Dr. Neil Gallagher.
Thank you, thank you. Well, you were asking the same question I'm asking as I get up here. We've listened to that stirring revival speech by Brother Barnett, moving speech by Michelle, that choir. What's Jaya doing inviting this old white guy up here? Well, let's see. 6 decades ago, at a stage not far from here, an American hero said, "Free at last. Free at last." And in the words of the old Negro spiritual, "Thank God Almighty, I'm free at last." And with that speech, he rescued a nation of people who had been trapped in segregation. Those grandchildren every night kneel at their beds and they say, "Thank God Almighty for grandmother who has rescued me from hunger and isolation and fear. Thank God Almighty for grandfather who has rescued me from the bitter winds of winter and the searing heat of summer. Thank God Almighty for grandmother and grandfather who have poured out unconditional love on me." My wife, who wrote that book, Grandparents Rescuing Grandchildren, who has counseled and coached many of you, taught me this phrase: taking in those grandchildren, no matter how old or how tired or how poor you think you are, it's Christmas every morning. Repeat it after me. It's Christmas every morning. It's Christmas every morning. And so as you have opportunity to speak to other grandparents or kinship people who say, "I'm too old, I'm too poor, I'm too tired," shut up and get involved in love. Because love is not a feeling. Love is an action to do what's right, whether you feel like it or not. And the person who's dramatized that in my life is my God-loving, good-looking, good-cooking beautiful blonde from Fort Worth. Stand up, honey. Stand up, honey. When we finally got Scotty and Amber many years ago, and Gail and I would be in the mall with them when they were about 5 and 3, and people would look at us. I'm 76. Gail is, but they would look at us and say, because Scotty and Amber started immediately calling us Mom and Dad. Never grandma, granddad. They just automatically called us Mom and Dad. And people would look at us and say, how did you do it? And I'd say, very simple. I'm very virile. She's very fertile. We saw another dramatization of another American hero 6 decades from now at a stage not too far from here. In his inaugural address, he said, "Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe, to assure the survival and success of liberty." That's the passion that drives you. You are, excuse me, you are paying any price, bearing any burden, meeting any hardship, supporting any friend, opposing any foe, to assure the survival and success of your grandchildren. Let those legislators know those grandchildren under your care, they go on to college, they go on to productive lives, they attend camps, they attend church, they become productive members of society because you are pouring out love. You recognize that self-pity is not an option. Whether you have to sleep on the floor and give them the couch or put more water in the chili, self-pity and sacrifice is not an option, because that's what love is all about. In our case, our daughter had mental health issues. And she never should have married, probably never should have had children, but she did. And many times she left. We didn't know where she was. And so we had to step in dramatically to be able to get those children. At first, there was custody. And during the custody battle, at times they were taken away from us. You want to know what that feels like? Have someone take a lit cigarette, open your eyeball, and put a lit cigarette on your eyeball. That's what it feels like to have children taken away from you. But we didn't give up. We didn't give up. And the climax came when we finally got the adoption, and we finally walked away from the lawyer's office. I may need your help with this, honey. Scotty took Amber's hand and said, "Amber, it's okay. We're safe now. We're safe now." That's what it's all about. So keep on reminding those who question you and wonder, saying you're too old or too poor. Love acts. Love doesn't collapse to self-pity. You are the Mother Teresa's. One last thing, and then I'm done. In northern England, there's a statue that was blown out during World War II. It was a statue of Christ. When they rebuilt it, they rebuilt everything except, the mayor said, let's not put the hands back on, because the hands of Christ are ours. Christ has no hands but ours, no lips but ours, no feet but ours. God bless you. What an honor to be here with you today.
And that's your beautiful wife sitting right there in the red. We shop at the same place. Oh my gosh, this is so wonderful. You know what? I was just thinking, sometimes when you come to things like this, it feels like you're preaching to the choir, right? Because we're all committed. We're right there. But you know what? We need the choir to sing, right? We need you to speak up, because we are in this, right? So I want to introduce a great musician, Saul Paul. It is my pleasure to introduce with a message from Austin, Texas. I love them Texans. Where's your big hat? Saul Paul was raised by his grandmother and credits his success to her faith in him, and his faith. He's a grand success, a wonderful example of someone who started out with the odds against him and triumphed because of grandparents' love and sacrifice. His book, Dream in 3D, has influenced youth and youth leaders across the U.S. Please join me in welcoming Saul Paul to the stage.
How's everyone feeling? I am so honored to be here. My grandmother, Pearlie Collins, she raised me. She raised me because my mother passed away when I was 3 years old. in a car accident. My father, I've never met him in my entire life. But my grandmother, she saw past all that, and she raised me as her own. 65 years old, raising a 3-year-old. I appreciated her. Only now that I'm an adult do I realize the phenomenal feat that she was accomplishing by being 65 years old and raising a 3-year-old that was quite energetic and quite bad. As I look back, I really realized that the issue was she was old and I was young. She was slow, I was fast. She was soft-hearted and I was hard-headed. So basically, I grew up in the perfect environment to do what I wanted to do, and I did. I took advantage of her unconditional love. I made the most of it, and I just kept doing wrong and kept doing wrong. And I want to tell this short story before I do this song because I've gone on to do great things like perform at 5 different Super Bowls, perform at the Kennedy Center for Performing Arts. I gave 2 various TED Talks, America's Got Talent. I travel across the world getting to inspire and entertain and empower people. And I'm living my dream and I'm helping other people live their best life. But it's all because of what was modeled in my home. It was my grandmother and how she was so selfless and poured into me and told me that I could succeed. That's why I travel and I encourage others and tell them the same. But there was a point in my life when I made some bad choices. She passed away when I was 17. By the time I was 20, I was convicted of 4 felonies and sat in the Texas State Penitentiary. When I sat in prison, I realized that it wasn't my circumstances, but my choices. When you make bad choices, you get bad results. When you make better choices, you get better results. Best choice I made, I told Jesus, take the wheel. I said, you call the plays, I just run them. And God was able to, through hard work and diligence and vision, and God's favor on my life, I was able to get out the Texas State Penitentiary, get into the prestigious University of Texas at Austin, where I graduated with a 4.0. I went from 4 felonies to a 4.0, and I credit my success to my grandmother, and I credit my success to my grandmother, her faith in me, and my faith. So everything I do, I want to honor her. So now I get to share a song with you about her. Everybody called her Big Mama. I just called her Mama. Thank you. And that's also the name of this song, Mama.
True, you were gone. Don't get it confused. This is not a sad song. I've been shining oh so bright, simply cause you raised me right. Yeah, and you gave me so much game. I'ma make sure the whole world say your name. P-E-A-R-L-I-E. A columnist, Collins, may she rest in peace. C-she-B-Y-I-B-me. Mama raised a monster, left the world with a bitch. I grew up poor, and I ain't even know it. Cause when we let go, yeah, she ain't even show it. She kept me focused, and in them textbooks. Now I'm living good, look how them checks look. She taught me about love, she taught me about life. Showed me what was wrong, and taught me what was right. Then she let me live my life, but I made mistakes. She still showed me love, so I guess she taught me grace. She taught me about faith and family. And home should be a place of peace, even in a calamity. She told me straight, this world is insanity. But once I make it out the hood, oh, what a man I'll be. Well, I made it, mama. Wish you could see me now. I got the world watching, cause I'm straight gleaming now. I did good, it's cause she did better. This is not a song, it's a love letter, yeah. Mama, mama, I'ma be everything you saw in me. True, you were gone. Don't get it confused, this is not a sad song. I've been shining oh so bright, simply cause you raised me right. Yeah, and you gave me so much game. Collins, may she rest in peace. See, she be why I be me. Mama raised a monster, left the world with a peace. Can we agree? There's nothing like your mother's hug, your mother's rub, your mother's love. When you hungry, what's better than mama's grub? Acting bad, moving fast, mama's tough. She pull your shirt tail, yeah, slow you down, but always lift you up and never hold you down. And when she speak, you always know the sound. That's the reason she the queen. She forever hold the crown. That's how Pearlie was. That's what mine was like. But it's always 2020 when it's hindsight. When she was round, I took her for granted. Now she's nowhere to be found on the entire planet. But it's all Gucci. I turned out alright. She the reason why I'm shining in the limelight. I did good, it's cause she did better. This is not a song, it's a love letter, yeah. Mama, mama, I'ma be everything you saw in me. True, you were gone, don't get it confused. This is not a sad song. I've been shining oh so bright, simply cause you raised me right. Yeah, and you're getting so much game. I'ma make sure the whole world say your name. Pearlie, a columnist Collins, may she rest in peace. See, she be why I be me. I'ma raise a monster, left the world with a peace.
I dedicate that to all the grand families here. The difference that you make in the lives of the children you serve, even though I know you know it, it's really years from now, decades from now that it really reverberates. So keep doing what you do. I love you.
Wasn't that beautiful? So when he came up to the stage, I want him to just talk a little bit. So I know there's some believers out here. So y'all got his name, right? Did you get his name? I want you to tell him about that name, and I'll tell you why. Because, here's the thing. What you're doing creates legacies, right? So I work for the Washington Post, one of the greatest newspapers in the country, in the world, right? I was raised by my grandmother in a row house in Baltimore. With, sleeping in the bed with my sister, and she never made more than $13,000 a year. And yet her grandbaby, the person she took in to raise, is working for the Washington Post writing about money for people all across the country. My husband and I, because I believe in giving back, so we volunteer at prisons to teach inmates who are about to be released how to handle their money. So when he came up here, I thought, I have people like you in my class. And I know that you can change. And I wanted him just to talk a little bit about why he chose Saul Paul. Just a little bit for him.
In the Bible, I want to make the point, my grandmother, she raised me in the church. She raised me for 17 years before she passed away. I was 17 years old. And I missed church twice. 2 Sundays. I know for a fact I missed one, but I round up and just call it 2. But while I was raised in that church environment, I never really had a relationship with Christ. I just went to church. But when I went to prison, I realized that a lot had been sown into me. A lot had been sown into me. So when I was in prison, it's like the seed got watered. I started reading my Bible, and then I realized there was this gentleman in the Bible. His name was the Apostle Paul, right? No matter what you believe, we all heard of Apostle Paul. He's famous for that, world renowned. But before his name was Paul, his name was Saul. When his name was Saul, he was a bad man. And then one day he met Jesus and his life changed. He literally got knocked off his high horse. His eyes were open and he realized that there was a better way. And he went from Saul to Paul. And myself, that's what I did. I went from Saul to Paul. It's when I was sitting in prison, I realized that I was born on purpose with a purpose. Up to that point, I had not been using my gifts and my talents. God always had his hand on my life. That's why he sent an angel to raise me. That was my grandmother. That's why he gave her the grace to do it. Just like many of you, a grace to do what it is that you do. It makes no sense that you can do what you do on a fixed income with the resources where you are in life, but you have the grace to do it. Just like I do quite a bit. My wife and I, we do quite a bit. We travel all the time, and people are blown away by how much we do, but I have the grace to do it. The truth is, again, we're all born on purpose with a purpose. That's why I love this opportunity to be able to get in front of you and encourage you. You are my people. I say it because you understand some things that other people don't. When I was in front of 50,000 people a few months ago at the Texas State Capitol for the Women's March. And that was an awesome crowd in the audience, but this is like a select few. That's right. That's why this is so great, because you understand the struggles and you understand what it is that you have to do to make it happen. The personal conversations I've had with you since I've been here have been profound. So, but anyway, that's where my name came from. It came from the Bible. It came from going from Saul to Paul. Sometimes people say, well, you should just go by Paul then, but I'm sorry, I didn't say I was perfect. I just transitioned. I went from Saul to Paul. And I love, just like Doc Gallagher said, I met him last night, like, don't put the hands on the statue because we're the hands, right? We're the hands. So it's on us to go out there. And I realize that. So I love being able to walk in my purpose and be a service to others, to entertain, inspire, and empower.
I wanted him to tell that story because I know many of you out there, you are raising great-grandkids. They just perfect little angels, right? They just don't give you no trouble, right? Let me see the hands of those 2 grandmothers that got that kind of kid. So the rest of y'all got a Saul Paul, right? What I'm saying? Right. And so I wanted him to come and talk. I knew right away what he meant by his name, but I wanted to give him some encouragement to you all, because sometimes when you're in the struggle, you don't see the rainbow at the end, right? And I know that my grandmother had to go through so much. My grandfather had a drinking problem, and sometimes he didn't bring his paycheck home. And so with her little paycheck, she trying to raise 5 grandchildren. And I'm telling you, she didn't even want to take we still, are we good? Okay, just checking my time. So my grandmother didn't take welfare. She didn't take the money, but she took the health care. Because of the 5 of us, 3 or 4 of us were very sick, including myself. I had rheumatoid arthritis. My brother had grand mal seizures. He had epilepsy. I had a sister who had eczema and asthma. Y'all know that's a struggle. That's a struggle. And so when the senator was talking about how we have to fight for Medicaid, we have to fight for each other. So we have Saul Paul as an example of someone who, your grandchild, who can turn around if you just stay faithful with them and keep prayed up with them. And then we have Brittany, who could have survived that kind of life. And I know that my grandmother saved me from foster care. And so when I see someone like her who went through both sides of that story, and I look out at all of you all and what you're doing, we're here today not to just celebrate but ourselves, but to tell those people over there that we need legislations to help you. We need to keep Medicaid in place and grow it so that you don't have to worry about taking care of them children. You got enough already to worry about than to worry about getting health care for them. We have to have legislation to make sure that people like Brittany don't end up in these foster homes. Right? And so that's what this rally is about. So what are you going to say? We are what? We are here. We are here to let them know. So don't lose this opportunity to, if you don't meet your member of the Congress, email them, tweet them, let them know, because this won't happen without you, y'all. We have to speak up. We have to advocate for each other and the grandmothers and grandfathers and aunts and uncles who couldn't come here and be seated where you are today.
So is Michelle Singletary just not the best? She has been such a wonderful friend to grand families, and she's such an incredible example of a grand success that we're thrilled that she joins us today to be together. I'm Donna Butts. I'm with Generations United, and I'm delighted to be here at this most amazing 5th National GrandRally. It's fantastic to see all of you and to have the pleasure of introducing Senator Bob Casey from Pennsylvania. He is a nationally recognized advocate for children, leading charges to fight for quality care and education for children. He also serves as ranking member of the Special Committee on Aging, along with Chairwoman Susan Collins. In March, the committee held a hearing, Grandparents to the Rescue, Raising Children in the Opioid Epidemic and Beyond, to bring attention to the growing number of older adults that are being called on to care for our country's children. I'm thrilled to welcome Senator Casey, a friend of grand families, to the stage.
Well, thank you very much and good afternoon. I first want to say something that will be parochial, but I represent Pennsylvania, so you'll forgive me. But how many Pennsylvanians? Now, all Pittsburgh here, right? Pittsburgh, Philly? What was that? All right. Now, I'm putting my hand up because I'm from Scranton, but I don't think there's any Scrantonians. But I am so grateful to have this opportunity to be here just for a couple of minutes to speak to you, because the issue that brings us together today, grand families and all of the challenges that so many families have, should be the subject of emphasis and attention by the United States Congress. I believe that. And because of that belief and because of the shared concern that Senator Susan Collins of Maine, who's the chairman, and it actually says chairman even though she's a woman, chairman of the committee, I'm the top Democrat, because she shares that view, we have a bill we've just introduced to focus on doing everything we can as a federal government to focus attention and time and help on behalf of grand families. So your work made that possible. We would not have had the opportunity or necessarily the impetus to introduce legislation like that. So I just have one task for you. You've brought us to this point where you've made these issues a central concern, which resulted in a bill. Now we got to get the bill passed. So every Democrat you know, every Republican you know, please ask them to sign on. We'll get you more details about the legislation and about the timing. But I'm grateful because I know the value and the benefit that you provide to the American people, helping our families in a very difficult time for the nation. If I had more time and if you had more time, I'd start yelling about programs that relate to health care, whether it's Medicaid or others. I won't do that today because I know we want to stay focused on this issue. But we need your help again to get this legislation passed. Your presence here today, the battle that you've waged for a long time to create a spotlight on these issues, to give families more help when they're confronting these challenges, you've done your part already. We just need a little more help in getting the legislation passed. We'll get you the information. Thanks for being here. God bless you on a beautiful day. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Casey. We so appreciate everything that you're doing. It's wonderful. I have the pleasure now of introducing my friend, Bet Hoxie from Maine. Bet is the Executive Director of Adoptive and Foster Families of Maine, at least until this fall, when she plans to retire and have more time for her family. After 46 years as a foster and adoptive parent who's currently raising 2 of her grandchildren, she deserves a change. We know it won't be goodbye, but a transition, and we're glad not to be saying goodbye to this amazing woman. Maine in particular has been hit hard by the opioid crisis. Because of her experience and leadership, Bet was asked to testify at the Senate hearing that I just mentioned on the impact that the opioid addiction crisis is having on grandparents. So please join me in welcoming Bet Hoxie. Bet Hoxie.
Wow, good afternoon. What a perfect day. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here with all of you. As Donna indicated, my name is Bet Hoxie, and I am no stranger to issues confronting grand families. I've been involved as a child welfare advocate for over 40 years, and for the past 20, I've served as the Executive Director for Adoptive and Foster Families of Maine and the Kinship Program. But I am first and foremost a mom and a grandmother and a great-grandmother. 19 children call me mom, 45 grandchildren, with 1 or 2 exceptions, call me grandma. And I've raised one of those grandsons who will graduate from high school in June. In my work, I assist grand families on a daily basis. And although my grandson's story was rather a large shift in my life at the time, Compared to what many of you are experiencing in the here and now, it was an easy job. But life took a funny twist a few months ago, and a 20-month-old who considers me his grandmama needed a safety net. His mother is struggling with addiction to opiates, and he needed a place to be safe. His mother, the Department of Health and Human Services, and the police have been involved, and the safety plan has become a bit more complicated even in the last few days. I feel some of the frustration I have repeatedly heard from other grandparents as they call my office about how do we keep these children safe. I've no idea what tomorrow will bring for this little person, but I know for today he's safe and he's loved. I have so much empathy for grand families, and I thought, as I assist families, that I was rather uniquely able to understand their plight. However, when this new twist in my life came about, I was thrown off guard. What happened was the DHHS worker had to come out and do a cursory check of my home. I was in the midst of packing away winter clothing, and the boxes were all over my bedroom, the very room where the crib is set up for this little guy. But I stuffed down my embarrassment because I knew that was what needed to be done. I was thrown off guard by it, but then I suddenly realized, wow, my empathy wasn't quite as much as I thought it was. This was a whole new feeling for me. I was at least able, when I did foster care, to prepare a little bit. I wasn't prepared for this, and I don't really need you to show me with a show of hands, but I suspect every one of you were a little bit surprised when that child or those children came into your lives. In those awkward moments, I had a much keener empathy for what it is like for many of you when you open your hearts and homes to grandchildren or other family relatives. The most important part of kinship for me is seeing that family remains together for the sake of the children. It isn't the easiest part, but it is definitely the best part. What that means to me is that children don't end up in foster care, and having done foster care for many years, I have a different view on that now than I did back then. I felt I was doing a good service then, and I was. I'm doing a better service now, keeping family together. I know what those grandchildren's schedules are. I know what their parents identify with, and I can share it. And that's what you all do. You give those children a sense of what their roots are and how they can take off from those roots and make a better life. It's obvious to me, and I want to throw in this because the opioid crisis is what's unsettling in my life right now and in many of yours. And it's hard to watch those young people, those parents of those children go through that without the resources they need. And it's obvious to me that the quality resources and programs designed to address the trauma that provokes individuals to opiate use is imperative. Mental health, law enforcement, educators, corrections, social services, and addiction treatment programs should be designed to assist those who need it, and they should be family-centered. We can't afford to lose main care for these families. The entire family becomes a part of this huge and devastating problem, a system that has waiting lines and sets times to meet for months after the initial request for help is made is a recipe for a person seeking help to simply keep using, or worse yet, become another fatal statistic. Finally, let me say a sincere thank you to all who provide for grand families and all who open their hearts and homes to care for a child in need of a grand family. Thank you so much.
All right, don't let that sun sap your energy. Come on, come on. I see you sort of going down a little bit. I can't have that because, you know, I got a jacket on. I'm really hot. So y'all got T-shirts on. Come on. It is my pleasure to introduce Christine Calpin from the Casey Family Programs. Casey Family Programs is the primary sponsor of today's rally. Can we give him a hand, y'all? Praise the Lord, especially for that water. Casey Family Programs Programs is committed to building communities of hope for children and strongly support grandparents and other relatives who each day provide safe and stable homes for children. Christine is their managing director of public policy, and in that role, she supports the foundation's efforts to improve child welfare public policy in states across the country. Please join me in welcoming Christine to the stage.
Thank you, Michelle, for that kind introduction. And it is such a privilege and honor to be with you all here today. And I bring greetings on behalf of our board and trustees, especially Dr. Sharon McDaniels, who sent her lovely and fantastic choir, who I know will be joining and singing again today, but also whose passion, leadership, and exceptional example really has driven so much of the work of Casey. We're so proud to partner with Generations United and all of you to remind everyone of the incredible commitment and work that you bring to your children and to your families each and every day. We're so privileged by the generosity of Jim Casey to be able to serve and help all of you, and through our direct services work have really set the bold goal of doing what you all do every single day, which is the importance of really securing a safe, nurturing, and permanent family for each and every child who's in our care. So where are my Casey Family Program friends who I know have come from various states? So put your hands up. There we go. Our friends from Hawaii as well. I'm so thrilled to be here with all of you. They include, and I encourage you to hear all their stories, but some of the families who are with us today, Charlita Fields, who with her partner Robert Norwood in California became the primary caregiver of their cousin's 3 children so that those children would not go into foster care. They also include Ana and Carlos Laura, also from California, who came to care for their niece and nephew. And with our support and their incredible love and devotion, they were actually able to reunite their nephew with his father in Mexico while they continue to care for his sister, but they work day in and day out to keep those sibling connections because first and foremost, they know the importance of family. You all bring such tremendous value and commitment to what you do. And what you step in and provide is such an important service. I don't need to tell you the statistics, but we do know that for every child who lives in foster care, there are another 20 children being raised by their grandparents without any support. Your voice, your passion, and your communication of that key message is so critical here today. I promise you that Casey Family Programs will continue that message tomorrow and in the days to come. You need to continue that message. You need to continue to lift that forward. We hope you'll continue to tell your stories. Each and every one of them matters, and they really do make a difference. The passion that the members brought to you here today is directly a result of what we see you all doing. The time you take to come here is so critical, it's so important, it's so wanted, and it is so needed. So please continue to do it. Again, we thank you for all you do. We're so proud to be a partner and a sponsor of this incredible event, and I wish you all well in your time here. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I know it's been a long day, but a great day. My name is Allie Caliendo, and I'm honored to be here today representing the National Kinship Alliance for Children. First, and this cannot be said enough today, I want to thank all of you here and everyone watching for your dedication to children. For me personally, there is nothing more beautiful and more important than what you do for kids, so thank you. Kinship caregivers keep the family tree blooming and growing, but I know it is often a thankless, complex, and difficult task. So again, on behalf of all of us at the National Kinship Alliance for Children, we want to thank you and all the sponsors of the Grand Rally. We are thrilled to co-sponsor this Grand Rally. The combination of kinship organizations and kinship caregivers combines the skilled advocacy and fierce tenacity that is necessary to bring the attention to the strengths and needs of kinship families on the national stage. And we truly believe that by working together, we will continue to ensure that policy recommendations are advanced to support children in kinship care, and policy recommendations on every level, local, state, and national. The National Kinship Alliance for Children is a nationwide network that brings together kinship families, kinship service providers, and kinship advocates from across the country. Our mission is to improve the well-being of children in kinship care and to strengthen the recognition of the importance of kinship families for millions of vulnerable children. We provide peer-to-peer services for all kinship families, and we work to improve kinship-related policies and practices. We envision a safe, stable, and loving family for all children in kinship care and a supportive network for all caregivers, and we invite you to join us. So it is my great delight today to introduce Shasta Dazen from the Fort Apache Indian Reservation of the White Mountain Apache Tribe in Arizona. One of 12 siblings, Shasta went to live with her grandparents at age 5, who immersed her in the Apache Indian culture. Now 23, Shasta is mother to her 11-year-old son, Cree, and serves as the president of the National Indian Health Tribal Youth Advisory Board. She also works for the Johns Hopkins University Center for American Indian Health. Shasta credits her grandparents for teaching her to be humble, respectful, hardworking, independent, and most importantly, loving. She knows that who she is and everything she's accomplished is a reflection of her grandparents. It's beautiful. So welcome, Shasta.
Dagote Danafoa, a shon Konathkai, Shisko Jo Konafaniyawa, Shirishti, Shasta Days, and she Titlakaisi unindashly, she and Degel Shiji Ambili Najone, she Natin Tagi Shiklotsa, she Nachinsley on it and Datashin Bonishti. Ashok, thank you. Everyone, that was a brief introduction of everything what was said in English. It was said in Apache. My Apache name is Her Horse is Beautiful, but my government name is Shasta Dazen. And I'm very grateful to be here from the Fort Apache Indian Reservation. At the age of 5, I was taken in by my grandparents, my maternal grandparents, who had 11 kids, and my mother had 12, so I hope to break the record by 13. But thank you guys so much for letting me be here. A little bit about my background. I was raised by my grandparents in the Apache way. We believe in the all 4 directions, our 4 sacred colors. And when we get up before the sun and pray before bad things can happen before the day. So we get up at 4 a.m. Every day I got up with my grandparents. I prayed, and my grandmother told me not to play with the boys and that I had to uphold my responsibilities as a woman. So around the age of 12, she told me, one of these days I'm not going to be here, and you're going to have to take care of your grandfather, and you're going to have to take care of your brothers and your uncle. And I didn't understand why she was telling me this, but I used to watch her at night, and in the morning we would make breakfast together and cook dinner together. And then when it came time, the Creator called her to the spirit world when I was just a freshman in high school. So starting my sophomore year in high school, I lived in a white community. I was the only Native American girl at my school. There was only about 20 Mexicans, and that was it. And then there's 600 white students that I went to school with. And so my grandfather told me I had to live in a white man's world and have a white man's education. We didn't have hot water, so I would have to warm it up, and I would have to bathe myself. We didn't live the way the white people did, so it's really different here in D.C. But I would have to walk to school in the morning, which was about 2 miles, and then walk back. But early in the morning, I would cook breakfast for my grandfather and my brothers, and then I would go to school, and then I would come back at lunch because we were allowed to get off campus for a whole hour. And then I would make sure a sandwich or something was available for my grandfather. I'd go back, and I participated in extracurricular activities, so I did volleyball, basketball, softball, and after my practices, I'd walk back home and I'd make dinner and did homework, and that was my life every single day up until I graduated. I graduated with many basketball scholarships, and I went on to play college basketball. I tore my ACL and I had to return home. I didn't know what to do, but my grandparents had that burden of taking care of me and my siblings. They did it because they knew that it would create an opportunity for me to have a good education. Back on the reservation, we have a census of 17,000 tribal members. Only 85% is unemployed. Our tribe is so poor that all the full-time employees have to work part-time, and everyone is paid under 64 hours with $10 an hour. This is why our demand of living on the reservation is so needed. We rely on governmental assistance. I came from a family that relied on TANF, but with 12 siblings, only getting $164 a month was not enough. I came from a family that relied on food stamps. Getting $400 a month to supply for 12 kids was not enough. I lived on access. It's helped me immensely. I can't thank you enough for being able to allow me to be here to advocate on my people back home who are in deep need and assistance. So many children on my reservation are cared for by grandparents. Our houses are only 2 to 3 bedroom homes, and I would say at least 15 people live in each home on the reservation. It's so sad, but to know that we are raised by our grandparents, our rich culture, our knowledge, our culture, our traditions, is a huge blessing in return from our Creator. I want you guys to know that each of you are of great worth. The worth of your soul is great in the sight of the Creator. Not one of us is better than the other. Not one of us is prettier or uglier than the other. We are all created in our Creator's image, and we are all equal. I want you guys to know that this work that we're doing here today is to benefit our future children and to benefit who we are as people, whether we're young or old, rich or poor, educated or humble. And every language, culture, and tradition in this whole U.S., we all have the capacity to help one another. And I'm so grateful that I get to be here and speak on our behalf. It has changed my life being raised by grandparents. I now have a little 11-month-old boy, and I'm teaching him the ways of my ancestors, the ways of my grandparents. And I hope someday as a grandparent I get to look back and know that I stood here on behalf of my people. Thank you, everyone, always in the ways of peace.
Hello. Is everyone having fun? My name is Pat Owens, and I'm the president of Grand Families of America, which is an outgrowth of many years. And I want to also thank Shasta for an awesome story. We don't get to hear much about her and the tribes, so thank you very much. I'm pleased to introduce our next speaker, Regina Murray. Regina was raised by her grandmother, and as an adult, Miss Murray became a caregiver herself when she took in her 6-year-old nephew at age 6 after his father returned from military service and was suffering from PTSD. Together they live in Indianapolis. I think I got that wrong. Indianapolis, Indiana, excuse me. It's been a long day. Where she serves as a juvenile probation officer. So let's give her a big hand and enjoy her speech.
Hello, as she said, my name is Regina Murray. I am from Gary, Indiana. I do not know Michael Jackson personally. I have been in Indianapolis, Indiana for the past 15 years. I am a kinship caregiver for my 13-year-old nephew, of which has been in my care since the age of 6. He is now 13 years of age. I'm sure many of you can relate to that, and he can be a handful. I have had legal guardianship of him since he was the age of 7. I myself grew up in an informal kinship care with my grandparents as a result of my mother dying of cancer at the age of 33. My father worked to provide for my family, and I provide support for my family as well. My father worked to make sure that we had everything that we needed to help ensure that I developed into a woman, a provider, a giver, as well as having the ability to care for myself. I tend to have more mature lady tendencies than most, being raised by a grandparent at the age of 38 now. My grandmother instilled strong values of caring for others, which is why it is so important for me to ensure that my nephew has the best chance at life. His mother is in prison for 18 to 20 years as a result of neglect and the result of my nephew's 3 to 4-year-old siblings who died as a result of an incident. And my brother returned home from Iraq with PTSD, more intense substance abuse issues, and traumatized. Therefore, he is in no shape to care for a 13-year-old that requires a lot of attention when he has his own issues that he needs to deal with, psychologically and medically. He is untreated, and despite my efforts to get him the help that he needs by going to the VA, our local VA office, that is supposed to offer him help, he does not qualify for services. This makes it very difficult for me to care for my nephew without the assistance. It is as though I am caring for both my nephew and my brother. As a juvenile probation officer for the past 15 years, serving in our community, health and fitness coach, and now a mother to my nephew, I understand the importance of ensuring that my nephew, my son, does not become a statistic. I have guardianship of him until he is 18 years old. As a part of the Villages Support Group in Indianapolis, the lessons I have learned and continue to learn from these warrior caregivers have been key to keeping me sane dealing with a 13-year-old male that has been traumatized, experienced abuse, and feels abandoned by his parents at times. They help keep me grounded with my brother, who just does not seem to be able to get things together for himself, financially and mentally. Kinship care is so important to ensure that my nephew, as well as yours, have the sense of belonging so that they can be productive members of society and not like his parents in my situation. Statistics show that those youth that are placed in kinship care do so much better than those that are not. My mother and grandmother would not have it any other way. I know if my mother was still alive, she would be here sharing this story, and I would be her support. Right now, I am struggling financially to provide for my nephew. He does not qualify for financial assistance outside of Medicaid. My brother is not in a good place to advocate for himself, which means that I care for my nephew alone. Right now, I have medical debt that was recently sent to collections as a result of having a high deductible health plan. And although paying on it for our medical care, as well as my nephew's therapy, it wasn't enough. His therapy is not covered through Medicaid. Having those additional resources for young people like my nephew to deal with the trauma that he's experienced and continues to experience as a result of his parents not being consistent in his life is a daily struggle. Having to choose between paying for therapy and buying food or leaving him at home alone instead of attending a summer camp that he could benefit from are just some of the things that I currently struggle with. Financial support for extracurricular activities, therapy, and education would be most helpful for my nephew. However, more importantly, therapy, medication management, and some financial support for my brother is even more crucial to the success of my nephew, as it impacts the man that my nephew, my son, will become. The message I want to leave with you today is that you are not alone. This is not easy, but having the right support makes it easier. Not everyone will get it, and don't expect them to. I struggle daily not knowing what mood my nephew will be in, or what will trigger a traumatic event for him, remembering his past with his parents, or what makes him upset. But when I look back at where we started, I am grateful for where we are today. Thank you.
All right, we're towards the end. You know what, if you can, stand up. Let's just stand up and let's just roll this out. So can I have the Second Chance Choir and Saul Paul come up to the stage? They're going to sing us out. But I figured y'all just need to shake it off a little bit. This sun is beating down on us, right? You hear me? So what do you think? Are grand families grand? Are they grand? Are you grand? All right, I want to thank you for all that you do every single day. So after the choir sings, go to the Hill Visit table, which is right behind you, so that you can look for your state sign to join others from your group to go meet with your members of Congress. So the Hill table right behind you. Go visit your policymakers, lift your voice, say, I am here. Share your story and ask their support for policies and programs that help kinship and grand families. Ask not for yourself, but for the children you so love so much. This has been a fabulous day, hasn't it been? And you know, I'm a believer, so I know all that rain that led up to this, he just opened up the skies for sunshine for y'all, right? Y'all brought the sunshine. No, you know what? I think Hawaii brought the sunshine. So, listen, we want to thank the GrandRally partners. Look forward to hearing about your great results and sharing your stories and lifting your voices. So, Paul, you ready? Almost? You ready? So I hear that we're going to sing out, what, We Are Family, is that it? Y'all know that song, right? We Are Family, you ready? Yeah, play a little bit for that. I like that. Don't forget, visit the table and we are here!
Y'all with me? If you can hear me right now, make some noise. Okay. Hey. Second Chance Choir. Yeah. Put your hands in the sky, wave them side to side. We ain't going nowhere, we just till our haters by. Now put your hands in the sky, and wave them side to side. We ain't going nowhere, we just waving haters by. Okay. I love it. We like the Second Chance Choir. One more time, let's go. We are family. Hey. Got our brothers, sisters with me. All the grand families make some. We are family. Yes, we are. Get up, everybody, and sing. Everybody stand up, let's start. We are family. This is our big exit, y'all. Got my brothers, sisters with me. We are family. All right. Get up, everybody, and sing. Put your hands in the sky. We are family. Wave side to side. Got my brothers, sisters with me. We just waving hands by. We are family. Wave side to side. Get up, everybody, and sing. We just waving by. Get up, everybody, and sing. Get up, everybody. Get up, everybody, and sing. Get up, everybody. Get up, everybody, and sing. Hey. Get up, everybody, and sing. We are family. Got my brothers, sisters with me. I got my brothers and my sisters. We are family. Get up, everybody, and sing. Second Chance Choir.
The Second Chance Choir. Give it up one more time. We the family, right? We get it done, is that right? No one can stop us, not a broken bus, right? Nothing can stop us, rain or shine, we're here. But didn't the shine on us today?
Yes, it did.
Saul Paul was here, talking about his grandmama, showing you how to do it.
Big Mama.
Everybody, Big Mama, everybody was here today, and I really appreciate your being here. I'm going to ask you to do one more thing for me. Can you do that? One more? When you get up, just take your chair over to that side. If you can. If you can't, no problem. But if you can, also stop and get some more giveaways, because you can take it back to your person who didn't make it on the bus. They tried to get on the bus, but they couldn't make it. So take one back to them, right? Isn't that good? We thinking about them. They're with us. This is live stream. If they see you and you don't bring nothing back, it's going to be a problem. So take something back. D. Brown, I need you over on the side. So D, wherever you are in this crowd, I need you over under the shade tree to my right. Thank you, everybody. Grand Rally 2017.
Grand Rally
in the books. In the books.